All right, board fam, we're back on this Jester Bell-ish. We have not watched a Jester Bell video in a while. This one is about the Mandalorian and Grogu, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be spoilers in this, so careful for spoilers before we get into it. I haven't watched Jester Bell in a bit because I wanted to take a little breather from her content. To be quite honest, there's very few people on YouTube that I watch where the stupidity feels viral. It feels like I'm going to catch something when I watch their content. Like I'm going to walk away and be like, and just be stupid. That's how I feel watching Jester Bell's content. And just the bad faith stuff. It's usually a lot of bad faith stuff in Jester Bell's content. And then the stupidity. The title of this video is Mandalorian and Grogu made me want to quit reviewing movies forever. I want to preface this by saying, you don't have to like the movie. You don't have to like any movie. But The Mandalorian and Grogu is just mid at worst, right? Like if you're talking about the worst possible outcome for that movie is that you're going to think it's mid. You might be annoyed by some of the Grogu stuff, but overall it's a harmless summer action movie, adventure movie with some characters from the TV series. And you might be like, it's mid. Right? I think that's a fair assessment. This is an overreaction. And it's really pathetic because it's so bad to, like, when you see someone clearly overreacting, before we even get into the video, she's got her head down on the desk. If you've never watched a Jester Bell video before, I'm going to pitch up the speed here. We'll see if we can get through this a little bit quicker. This is going to be a trip for you. It's going to be a trip. Let's just see how bad this is going to be.
Hello everyone, Jester Bell, aka Female Photo Baggins. And I have to tell you all, I love being a YouTuber. I love talking about movies. I love the commentary on movies. I love talking about TV shows. I love talking about entertainment. I couldn't ask for a better job.
You couldn't like convince me that if you had me tied to a wall and you were pouring water on my head. I don't believe she loves anything. She says she loves doing it, but that would mean that she loves talking shit about movies and TV shows, not embracing movies and TV shows. If you're somebody that gets on YouTube and you love film and you love TV, as someone that does it myself, I actually prefer chatting about things that I like to talk about with other people. And if we have a problem with something, we discuss that. If there's parts of it we like, we discuss that, because that would be like a nuanced take on the things you're watching, because if very few things are 100% bad or 100% good. And when it comes to channels like Jester Bell's channel, it's typically like everything has to be the worst thing ever. There's no like, oh, well, I liked half of it. Half of it was good. Half of it was bad, because YouTube doesn't reward that. It doesn't reward that kind of conversation, that kind of discourse. It just doesn't. Her channel, she's trying to get, I think she's close to 100,000 subscribers right now. She's getting that from shitting on movies and TV shows. So when she says she loves what she's doing, if you go and you look at her channel, matter of fact, let's take a look right now. I want to be consistent with this with you guys. So let's take a look at her channel. I want to look through just the last, 4 or 5 weeks of videos to see how many things she's actually enjoyed, because she says she loves doing it, but what she actually means is I love shitting on stuff. That's what she means. All right, so here's her channel. Let's see. She doesn't like Mandalorian and Grogu. She doesn't like Supergirl. She doesn't like modern Disney. She doesn't like Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. She doesn't like Pedro Pascal marketing Mandalorian and Grogu. She doesn't like Odyssey again. She doesn't like Odyssey again. She doesn't like Rachel Zegler. She doesn't like Odyssey again. She's talking about Disney erasing the sequel trilogies because she doesn't like Star Wars. She doesn't like The Devil Wears Prada 2. She doesn't like Spider-Man. Apparently she liked Michael Jackson, but that wasn't even enough to get her normal amount of views. 25K views on this is one of the lower videos that she's gotten views on, because she actually talked about something I guess she liked and her viewers rejected it, because that's not why they come to her channel. They come to her channel for stuff like this. More anti-Disney stuff, anti-Anne Hathaway stuff, more anti-Disney stuff, anti-Star Wars, anti-Hollywood, racist stuff. Like she's saying she loves what she does, but clearly it's not about actual good faith movie discourse or TV show discourse. It's literally culture war content. So when she says she loves it, she loves the outrage, the drama. That's what she loves, not actually talking about movies and TV shows with a nuanced opinion.
However, on this day, I saw a movie that made me think the thoughts. Is it worth it?
Oh.
I saw a movie.
There are lots of movies worse than Mandalorian and Grogu that might make someone consider not reviewing movies anymore. This is just so performative. It's just...
so bad.
Right.
So incomprehensible that I could not understand why Hollywood would ever make it. That I started to think in my head, you know, maybe it's not worth it. You know, maybe I don't want to watch these movies anymore.
Do they give Razzies out to YouTubers? Can we do Razzies for like worst acting? This is crazy.
More. Mandalorian and Grogu, the first Star Wars movie in 6.5 years.
Right.
I thought it was going to be bad. I thought I was going to be bored to tears. But I did not expect just how bad it was going to be, where it was so hard to endure this. I have a rule. Do not check your phone. No matter how much you hate the movie, to me, there is nothing worse than going on your phone during a movie. In this movie, nobody else was in the room. To be fair, it was a boutique theater we saw it in, but no one else was in the room. So yes, I did check the time.
Is she selling y'all on this? Is this working? Are you convinced yet? I mean, I think she's drove it home a couple times here, like in terms of her narrative, but we're still going. 2 minutes in.
Time on my phone again and again and again, just wondering when this abomination was going to be over. And I want to be clear about something about this movie. A couple things about it. We need to lay out the rules for this video. Number one, this is not a Star Wars movie. I refuse to accept this as a Star Wars movie. This has nothing to do with Star Wars.
So you're willing to deny reality. That's it. You're like, oh, it's not a Star Wars movie because I refuse to accept it. Okay, so here's my thing. If you don't accept it as a Star Wars movie, then moving forward, I don't want you to have any criticisms of this movie in relation to Star Wars lore, Star Wars characters. I don't even want you to compare it to other Star Wars films because you're saying it's not a Star Wars movie. Okay, bet. We're going to run with that for you, which means that for the next, 19 minutes of this video, if we get through it, the next 19 minutes of this video, do not hold any sort of standard for Star Wars when you're talking about this movie. There should be no comparisons to any other Star Wars project if this is not a Star Wars movie. I'm just keeping it fair. You shouldn't do it. If it's not a Star Wars movie, then let's judge it on its own merit.
Two, this isn't a film. It's like when I was watching it, I just kept asking with the person I was with,
So it's not even a movie. So what are we doing? You said that this wants to make you quit reviewing movies forever. If it's not a movie, then why are you holding it to the standard of a movie? It's not a Star Wars movie, but it's not even a movie, which means you could have just left Star Wars out of it if it's not a movie. But let's continue with your bad faith take on this film because you are poisoning the well for this piece of art.
Happening? What's going on? What's happening? And to no answer. And then, like, the last thing I want to lay out for this movie.
Right.
Anyone out there associated with the greenlighting and production and the making of this film needs to lose their career. And I'm not even being hyperbolic about that, and I'm not,
No, you absolutely are. And that's okay, because hyperbole really is all that you have. That's all you really have is sensationalism, outrage, and hyperbole. I mean, that's what this video is, essentially.
Oh, I'm not exaggerating. This is not just out of anger. Like,
it is.
Completely. Like,
well, no, I take that back. It's not out of anger. It's out of, like, money for outrage content on YouTube. That's what this is. This is a money-making scheme. That's why this, all the theatrics and, you know, the theater kid shit that you're doing, yeah, that's what this is. It's a way to make money on YouTube because you realize that YouTube loves pushing this stuff still to this day. A lot less than before. Growth is still slow, but they're still doing it.
This is a career-ending movie where this is unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable to put something like this out there. And once again, the idea that people got it in their heads that they were going to do this and that this is what they were going to put out as a Star Wars movie after 7 years, like, you have completely lost all credibility if you have associated yourself with this film. Jon Favreau, Pedro Pascal, I hope I never see his face again after this movie because he's...
Well, you know you are, though. I mean, you know you are. So, I mean, again, theatrics.
Certainly has... He never had it to begin with, but, like, this is the worst thing that Jon Favreau has ever been a part of.
I want you guys to understand, if you're not familiar with the lore with Jester Bell here, she doesn't like Pedro Pascal. Like, when I say doesn't like, I mean has like this obsession with attacking Pedro Pascal. Like, it's a fetish she has. So anything that he's in, it's going to already be negative for her because she doesn't like him. So it's already got to push shit uphill for her because of how she feels about Pedro. Because unlike a real film critic, where you're going to judge something based on what it is you're watching, she carries all of this over from film to film to film. There's no like resetting of the palette for her. There's no palette cleansing ceremony going into these movies. It's literally like you leave one movie and whatever baggage you have about any of the people involved with that film, you just take it into the next thing they're doing. And that's how she judges movies.
I know he did Iron Man, but my goodness, this is just career ending once again.
Right.
Sigourney Weaver is in this movie for like 2 minutes just to be the girl boss character, and it's embarrassing.
Well, how are you a girl boss in 2 minutes? What did she do that was girl bossy? I mean, you've got still like 18 minutes and some change left to explain. What makes Sigourney Weaver a girl boss in a movie where she's quite literally the person in charge? And that's how she's introduced. That's her job. So just being a girl that's in charge of stuff now makes you the stereotypical girl boss? I mean, the bar is low already, but can it get any lower? Like, what are we doing here?
Jeremy Allen White voices Rada the Hutt, you know, the little Hutt from the Clone Wars animated movie that was so hated, and they had to rescue him. Yeah, he's back here, and the movie is about having to rescue him because Dave Filoni is in charge of Star Wars, and he needs to get all of the characters associated with the crappy, overrated Clone Wars cartoon, and that's what Star Wars is now. It's just him bringing about his characters into this universe so we can get royalties from them. We see Embo as well, and that's this movie. Now, in case any of you are in a bit of denial how bad this movie is.
I think that's really interesting. In denial. One thing that I don't like to do, I'm not saying that I've never done it, I probably have at one point. One thing I don't like to do is project my personal taste of something onto other people. Because I think that's a really fucking boring way to critique art. Because what you're doing is you're trying to establish a objective truth about something and dismissing anybody else's personal opinions on it. If you've ever watched the Nocturnal Nerdcast, which is my twice a week podcast, I have a panel of guests, and we disagree about stuff all the time. 100%. And I might not like their take. They might say, oh, I love a movie. And I'm like, oh, I think that movie's a piece of shit. And that's fine. We go about our day. I'm not trying to twist their arm or convince them or change their mind about art or movies or how they view something that's extremely subjective, which is if you like something, you don't like it. But I think in this case, there's an overreaction. For me, there's always a big telltale. Like when someone overreacts about how bad something is, I feel like they're either doing it to be funny. Like they're just like, oh, it's so bad. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Like I assume they're just being funny about it. But when you have someone that's like, I can't just dislike something and be funny about how bad it is. I have to tell other people who might like it that they are wrong for liking it because of my personal taste. And that's what she's doing here. She's trying to imprint her feelings about this movie on other people. And to be clear, I don't believe that she really hates this movie as much as she says. Again, it's just my opinion. I don't believe that she does. I don't buy it. I don't buy what she's selling.
Let me get into it. Okay. The Mandalorian, the TV series, like, it's never been good. It's never been good. That's what this movie is based off of. And if you go see this movie, I just got to warn.
I just want to point out that it's never been good. It's fine if she feels that way, like in her personal opinion, because she doesn't like Pedro Pascal. obviously. But most people would argue that at least season 1 was good for them. Like the average person would probably agree that the first season was good. And then there's questions about quality as we get on through like the next couple seasons. But to say it's never been good, again, we have to understand she means to her. I don't understand this kind of criticism coming from someone that considers himself to be an actual critic. Like, honestly, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
You haven't watched any of the Mandalorian TV show or the Disney Plus shows, I gotta tell you right now, you are gonna be completely lost with this movie because
you're not. That's a lie. That is a lie. That is not a subjective take, right? That is just a lie. I went to the movies with 4 people. Myself and one other person had seen the show. The other 2 people had never seen the shows. They don't watch any of the Disney Plus shows. They only watch Star Wars movies. So they hadn't seen anything on Disney Plus. They had no problem understanding the movie. They had no problem. The story was very clear. The characters, it was very clear what they were doing. And there were even characters in the movie that I didn't know. Like there were some characters that I didn't know, and I was still able to follow the story of the movie. The story was actually really simple, to be honest. So I don't know how anybody would have any trouble following the basic flow of this movie. It's legitimately easy to do that. Which, by the way, we're still referencing Star Wars. We're still referencing Star Wars properties. She said at the beginning, part of her 3 things at the beginning was that this wasn't a Star Wars movie. So why are we still referencing other Star Wars projects? Why aren't you just judging it based on what it is? Which you said it wasn't even a movie. So I don't even know how you would review something that you don't even consider a movie. But either way, the Star Wars elements, all the things you're referencing, you shouldn't even be talking about that because you say it's not Star Wars. That's your rule, not mine. She's the one that set it up.
There is no explanation for it. There's like this, like literally this text crawl. It's not even a crawl. There's like this default PowerPoint font that comes on the screen to describe the movie, and then we're off to the races. But like, there's no explanation of like who the Mandalorian is, what his culture is, what is his connection to Grogu, who is Grogu, why does this matter? Like, there's just literally no explanation whatsoever. It's literally like you're watching season 4 of The Mandalorian. And getting into that, so to explain to anybody who saw this movie and is just straight up confused at what they watched, The Mandalorian is the Disney Plus show that this is.
We really don't need you to explain this.
Is based off of, and supposedly what got it into their heads in making this movie is, I guess, The Mandalorian was the only thing that's been recently well received on any level. I gotta tell you, The Mandalorian was never good. It was an incredibly boring show with minimal dialogue, minimal plot.
Wait. Hold on. So you're saying that the movie only happened because The Mandalorian was well received, meaning that objectively there has been people that enjoyed the show because they have proof of that based on some sort of like math or numbers or fan reception. But then you're saying, again, it was never good. So explain to me how we get a movie from a TV show that was never good over like 3 seasons. Explain to me logically how that happens in the current state of Hollywood, where people are trying to save money. Why would they put out something that they felt was super risky if they didn't have any confidence in it whatsoever, based on public reception to it? Just out of curiosity, I don't usually do this, but let's take a look at Rotten Tomatoes at seasons 1, 2, and 3 of The Mandalorian. All right, so here we have season 1. People would argue this is the best season of the show. 93 and 93 actually tied critics and fans with over 10,000 ratings, put it at 93%. Let's take a look at season 2. So season 2, 91% from fans, for critics, to 93% on season 2. Season 3, which people argue is the worst season of the show, has 84% from critics and 51% from fans. So not well received by the fans, still well received by the critics. But we have 3 seasons where 2 of the 3 were well received by both, and 3 of them were received well by the critics. So arguing that the show was never good without any actual proof other than trust me, sis, is crazy. It's just crazy.
And it was just a slog, and I didn't get through all of it because it was so boring. And that's what this movie shows. It exemplifies
Okay, hold
it in spades.
on. So if you already didn't like the show, and you thought the show was shit and it was never good, why did you expect the movie to be any different? Like what were your expectations? That the movie was magically going to be a million times better than the show? No, this means you went into it already disliking it. You went into it already hating it, just like you do with Pedro Pascal. So the movie stood no chance with her. To be clear here, she was not going to like the movie, even if the movie came out and made, 200 million on its first weekend. She was not going to like it. She's going to be like, no, I still hate it because I hate the show. So, I mean, what's the point? I guess we'll keep watching this, but what's the point? Like, we've already established that you didn't like the show. So, I mean, why are we listening to you talk about the quality of the movie?
That barely anything is happening. There's not an explanation for any of the characters. There is zero character development in this movie. There is zero characterization. It's just Pedro Pascal doing this incredibly monotone reading of whatever lines they gave him in the booth. And because he clearly is not there on set, he's not reacting to anything. So oftentimes, like, his voiceover doesn't actually go with what's happening. So there'll be some peril, and his voice will still be incredibly monotone, and you can tell he's not actually imagining and reacting to the situation.
Kind of like we can tell that you don't mean what you're doing at the beginning of these videos when you're acting out. Is that what you're talking about? So I guess you were just, impersonating Pedro Pascal at the beginning of this video. Is that what you were doing? Like, you're literally complaining about his acting ability when yours is awful. So it's really odd that you're up here saying that he's not good at something when he's a million times better than you. It's funny.
Situation, or there'll be something that's upsetting and it's still in that incredibly boring monotone voice. Like Pedro Pascal, I think The Mandalorian was really the thing that sort of made him this sort of pseudo superstar in Hollywood.
So how would that happen if it was bad? How would The Mandalorian, the show, make Pedro Pascal a huge star if the show was poorly received by everyone? How does that work exactly? That someone's on a really bad show that's so objectively bad that it's a piece of shit from the beginning, but then that also makes them a mega celebrity? This is cope. This is cope. It's literally cope.
This should be the end of it. Thank goodness you barely see him in the movie. I think you see his face for a minute, but it's like, and they try so hard.
But weren't you just complaining that he wasn't on set? So what do you want? Oh, he was barely on set. You can tell because he's just kind of dialing in the lines. But also, I'm glad that he wasn't on set because I don't have to see his face. There's no standard here. This is just shit talking. That's all this is. This isn't an actual critique of the film. It's just shit talking.
To make the Mandalorian seem cool in the suit, but he's just not. And once again, unless you've watched any amount of the show, you don't know anything about him. And he's not even a character. He's just a suit that walks around the...
So it's not a Star Wars movie. It's not a movie. He's not a character. I mean, is there any actual criticism here? Anything? We're over 7 minutes into this video. And the only legitimate criticism that you've given, which wasn't true, was that you had to know a lot about the show to understand the movie. That is a piece of criticism that could actually be discussed and debated, except for the fact that it's a lie. Like, if it weren't a lie, then I guess we could have a conversation about it in good faith. But other than that, it's just been like your own personal taste on stuff and your dislike for Pedro Pascal.
Movie. And so, like, I can't imagine some people off the street on Memorial Day weekend just going, oh, there's a Star Wars movie in the theater. I'm going to walk in and see what that's all about. I just can't imagine the pain.
You can't imagine that people would want to go see a new Star Wars movie because of what reason? What? I mean, is Star Wars not a big property? Like, what are we even having a conversation? If you don't think the Star Wars is worth anything, then why are we even having this conversation? What's the point? If your goal is in this discourse isn't to ask for better movies or better TV shows for a property that you think is an important property, then what are we doing here?
Of coming in and walking to see this thing. And people are going to walk out of this thing and demand their money back because they're going to be so confused as to what this thing is.
Wow.
Okay, to talk any amount of what the plot of this movie is, so you're going to hear a lot of people saying that it's like 3 episodes of Mandalorian season 4 smashed together. That's true enough, but it's like 3 scrapped episodes. It's like something I wasn't supposed to watch. It's like, the Batgirl movie that got shelved. This feels like a project that got shelved just because of how bad it was.
What? What are you talking about? What is she talking? It wasn't shelved, though. This movie wasn't shelved. You said it feels like it got shelved. You haven't seen the Batgirl movie. How are you supposed to judge this against the quality of a movie you never saw? For real?
And now people got curious as to what actually it was, and now this is us seeing it. But anyway,
Okay.
the plot of this movie, once again, it's all about getting Dave Filoni's characters front and center.
Okay.
Where the Mandalorian is going around and he's...
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, you need characters to make stories. Right? You need characters to make stories. So you would use characters that either you have already established or you would use new characters. So if Dave Filoni's like, hey, we have these characters from series that were liked by fans, we can use them in this movie and do a story with these characters. Because let's be clear here, if they were all brand new characters, then the argument would be that they're characters that no one knows and that nobody cares about them. That's it. That's the narrative from these media grifters. That's the narrative. If it's these characters they don't like, then they'll say it's characters nobody cared about, you know, that were from this universe that were put in this movie. And then if it's new characters that the team created for the movie specifically, they would say, these are a bunch of new characters that nobody likes. They should have just used characters from things that people know. That's the grift.
Doing tasks for the New Republic, and you know, they're talking about how they're stopping the Empire from rising again, and I'm like, why are we supposed to care about that when the sequels are still canon and we know that the Empire is just going to rise again and Luke is going to become a grumpy old man and all of that? Why am I supposed to...
Well, so why even bring characters back at all? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, if we know where everybody's going and where the end of this is, then why even do anything at all? Like, do you have the same energy for the prequels? For 1, 2, and 3? I mean, to be fair, I don't know if she does or not, but I'm assuming you would like them because you seem to be like, oh, well, like Disney Star Wars is bad, but I guess regular Lucas Star Wars is good, which would count the prequels. But why have the prequels if you know where all these characters are going to end up? Like, what's the point of that?
To care about them stopping something I know is just going to happen anyway in this universe.
Right.
But his travels lead him to need to bring Rada the Hutt, you know, that baby Hutt from the Clone Wars animated movie, bring him back to his aunt and uncle. And so shenanigans ensue. By shenanigans, I mean there's these weird sequences with Martin Scorsese's character where he doesn't want to give Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, any information, and they kind of try to make it silly, but it's not, and it's confusing of why he keeps repeating the cliche, don't mention that name, but don't mention that name, that's too dangerous. You know, it's just crazy to see someone like Martin Scorsese on this film, which I think is one of the worst movies, the worst block.
It's really interesting that you're trying so hard to diminish all of the respected people that are like attached to this movie. Sigourney Weaver, Martin Scorsese, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, Pedro Pascal, like everybody that's attached to this, there's, even if they've done amazing things in their career, she's got to diminish it to try and make this movie look bad. This is when you know somebody's building a narrative. This is what narrative building looks like. Like, you watch a Jester Bell video, any of them, click on any of them where she's doing this, and you can see that she's just narrative building. She's cherry picking and narrative building, which, by the way, she said that this movie wasn't good, that you couldn't follow the story. She's doing a pretty good job here of like telling you what the story is, right? She's recounting the story because she was able to follow it. Let's continue.
Blockbusters, I think, that Hollywood has ever produced. This will make it into my top 10 worst experiences I've ever had for watching a movie for this channel.
Right. So, I want you guys to understand, if you stumbled on this video, that this is absolutely unethical for a critic, the way she's handling this. This will definitely make it into my worst list or whatever. Like, we're going into the summer this year, and she's already picking out her worst list. Already.
And worst movies that I think Hollywood has ever made in terms of the damage it does to them. Anyway, so Rada does not want to come back because he wants to be a good boy. So the Mandalorian and Grogu decide that they're going to actually, and there's this 45 minutes to an hour sequence of them just going from one place to the next on this planet that's like a gladiator planet. It's like, oh, okay, Mandalorian, you go to this planet, you find Rada. Oh, Rada doesn't want to come back. Well, you're gonna have to find his boss. Well, the boss wants you to fight. Okay, now you're, after all of that, pretty much nothing happens other than them.
I mean, look, it's okay to not like a movie. Right. So like the thing is, if you genuinely don't like this, that's fine. But you're trying really hard to make everything sound like it's a problem. Everything. There's no redeeming aspect here As we're going through this, there's not one thing where she's been like, this isn't really an issue, right? Everything is a problem. All of it. There's no sequence that she likes. She's literally just saying that on every level, no matter if you're someone like Martin Scorsese or Sigourney Weaver or anybody behind the scenes, anybody that wrote this, anybody directed this, like she's saying that literally you have put out something that is unwatchable. Even though if I go, we're going to use Rotten Tomatoes. I hate to do this, but we need an aggregate site to see where we are. If we go over to Rotten Tomatoes and we click on this, let's see where we're at when it comes to reviews, right? Because I just want to be clear here. These are aggregates of critics and fans. So the movie right now is sitting at 63% from critics and 89% from fans. Let's continue.
Trying to shoehorn in some fight scenes thanks to the arena and Din Djarin meeting this guy who's like got Rada the Hutt captured. Times in this movie, and I apologize for this, guys. There were times in this movie where my brain just could not engage, and I just completely fell out of it. I wasn't hearing what anyone was saying.
Well, that would require you to actually have a brain in order for your brain to not comprehend what's going on. You would actually have to have one in order for that to happen. I want to be clear here. That's me talking shit. Just to be clear.
That's how boring it was. They were just kind of expositioning, dumping here and there, and then it would just...
Okay, so clearly you're like, oh, we don't know enough about these characters. They don't do a lot of explaining who these characters are. But in the movie, when they take the time to explain the stuff, you're like, they were just exposition dumping. All right. Again, unobtainable goals. There's no actual standard here that the movie could have existed in that would have been adequate enough for her to like it.
Serve to put the Mandalorian in a different room or a different planet or something like that. That's kind of what this movie was. Once again, with the person I was with, I was just like, I don't understand what's even happening with this. So
you just explained it. You explained the movie. What was there not to understand? Are we like, what the fuck? You literally explained what the plot of the movie was. You didn't understand that? Let me break it down. I'll make it real simple. Mandalorian and Grogu are doing jobs for someone. In one of those jobs, they have to rescue someone. And in that rescue attempt, they find out that the person they were looking for is the person that's attached to this kidnapped individual. And they have to decide how they're going to handle that situation. That's the plot of the movie. It's not breaking any new ground. It's been done before. Like I said, the movie at worst is mid. It's just an adequate action adventure movie that kicks off the summer. That honestly, at worst, it's mid, right? At best, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a lot of fun, but it's not going to be something that's going to blow your mind. My score for this was like a 7.5. I think it's an above average movie that's a lot of fun. The kids in the theaters that I was at were having a good time with the movie. I had a good time with it. Again, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. It's an easy movie to follow. So I don't know what she means when she says she doesn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, after an hour goes by, and all that happens is they fight some creatures on this arena, and Rada they bring away, and they're going to bring him back to his aunt and uncle.
It seems like you understood what was going on. I don't know about you guys, but it sounds like she knew what was going on.
Rada is just going to be killed by them anyway, and Rada tells the Mandalorian, coincidence of coincidence, that the Imperial officer that they were trying to find, that they made a deal with the Hutts in order to try to find, because the Hutts were going to give them information in exchange.
Sounds like you understood the movie.
The Imperial officer, by coincidence, was the guy they just fought who had Rada captured. Yeah.
By coincidence. Did you know that was going to happen? Did you know? Were you not surprised? When you first watched the movie and that reveal happened, were you like, damn, I saw that coming a million miles away? That's so predictable that I wasn't surprised at all that that was the character they were looking for. The one that we had no idea who that person was. It was such an obvious thing to me. Oh, no, wait, you said you didn't understand what was happening in the movie. You didn't get it at all. Even though you're recounting everything that happened, you were so confused that your non-existent brain wasn't able to process it. But they did something that was so obvious to you that you saw it coming from a million miles away. But you didn't understand the movie.
it's a complete coincidence and it makes no sense. But because of that, the Mandalorian, through the goodness of his heart, decides to let Rada go free. And he tells Sigourney Weaver that, and then he decides to go on vacation for some reason. It was crazy. Like, why are you going on vacation? He's like, yeah, this mission got a little messy. I'm like, no, it didn't. Nothing happened. So that's episode 1.
What's funny is you just spent 20 minutes explaining stuff, and then you go, nothing happened. But it's not hyperbolic, guys. It's not hyperbole. It's just her saying, oh, all this stuff occurred that I didn't understand what was happening, but actually nothing happened. In case you're wondering, all of this storyline stuff that I'm telling you, nothing happened. And I'm clearly not rage baiting. Clearly not.
That you get in this movie. And then episode 2 and 3 is now the Hutts are after the Mandalorian because he didn't bring Rada back to them. And then they wind up capturing Rada anyway. And the Mandalorian also...
Man, it sounds like a lot is happening. For a movie where nothing happened, it sounds like a lot is happening.
Gets captured. And then guess what? There's a little cutesy adventure where now Grogu takes center stage and now he has to rescue Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, because the movie is titled The Mandalorian and Grogu, which means they're both the lead characters of the movie. So him getting a little segment to do his own little adventure isn't a big shock because he's the second billing on the title of the film. Now, I know one of the criticism I've heard is that it takes up too much time. People are saying they would prefer if there was less of Grogu's adventure. That's a fair criticism. But complaining that he had an adventure at all within his own movie is just nuts. It's absolute insanity.
So Pedro Pascal gets captured by the Hutts and fights some more creatures, and Grogu comes to rescue him. And then, like, we're skipping over a lot, you guys, because so much of this movie is just dead air.
Well, no, you got that wrong. You got it wrong. He was fighting the creatures, then Grogu rescued him, and then Grogu had the adventure. You got the order of events screwed up.
And nothing happening. But what happens is they're going to escape the planet again. But then
nothing happens, but what happened? Hold on, run this back. Like, literally, you can't make this up. Nothing happens, but what happened?
Rescue him. And then, like,
Listen.
We're skipping over a lot, you guys, because so much of this movie is just dead air and nothing happening. But what happens is they're going to escape the planet again.
Just put the clown makeup on. Put the red nose on and the big red wig and the clown makeup right now. Get a little flower that squirts water and a little horn and just do it. Just wear the clown shit right now. Go ahead. It would make more sense. You love Harley Quinn anyway. So just dress up like a clown because that's what this is. This is clown behavior.
Again, but then the Mandalorian takes like this big stand where he's gonna fight off all of these characters, but it made no sense because it's like you were right there on your ship, you could have escaped, and now why did Mandalorian decide he's just gonna turn around? And it's portrayed as like this epic moment when
because he didn't want them to chase Grogu. He was trying to give Grogu a head start because he was poisoned. He thought he was going to die. In the movie, he gets bit by this creature that poisons him. He doesn't know how to get the antidote. He feels like this is it. I'm going to die. Right? So that's why he doesn't leave with Grogu. And that happens before Grogu's adventure. Just to be clear here.
Sacrificing himself. But it's like, I feel negative 1,000 for this maid character. I don't know anything about him.
Because you don't like Pedro.
I don't know what his motivation is in this other than protect Grogu. And he kind of is maybe not such a bad guy for a bounty hunter.
You don't know what his motivation is except protect Grogu, which is literally why he did it. That's the motivation.
I don't know. Like, he's not even a one-dimensional character. He doesn't have a character.
Not the one-dimensional character argument, fam. This is a throwback. In case you don't know the lore behind this, she doesn't understand what one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional means. She doesn't understand it. She says it all the time, or at least she used to say it all the time. She doesn't understand what it means. He's not a one-dimensional character. Just because you don't like his monotone delivery of lines, that doesn't make him one-dimensional at all. Like, you could argue that you think he's boring. You could argue that you don't like the actor. Those are all interesting critiques. But he's definitely not a one-dimensional character. Sorry.
What his motivation is in this other than protect Grogu, and he kind of is maybe not such a bad guy for a bounty hunter. I don't know. Like, he's not even a one-dimensional character. He doesn't have a character. He's just a suit of armor.
Oh.
So now they want me to be...
I mean, you already said he wasn't a character earlier, so I don't know why you're just reiterating that again. Honestly, you could have wrapped all this up in like 5 minutes. Because all of your complaints don't make sense when you start recounting the actual plot of the movie, the stuff that characters do, the scenes, and go like, well, nothing happened. And then you spend 20 minutes talking about what happened.
Sad that a suit of armor is dying, you know, when he didn't even have to sacrifice himself. But he gets poisoned.
He was going to die. Wait, hold on. We got to run this back. She's all over the place with this. Maybe she's right. Maybe her brain didn't comprehend it. He was sacrificing himself in the jungle because he already thought he was going to die because of the poison. He said, I can save Grogu and the people, the little creatures that were with Grogu. I can save them because I'm going to die anyway. So I'm going to buy them some time. That was part of the reason he did it. He wanted to protect them, and he thought that he was dying. Those were the motivations for what he was doing, right? That was the point of that scene. So when she's like telling it this way, it sounds wonky because she's got the story mixed up where these things happen. So let's run this back here. She's talking about him getting poisoned after that happens. That's not the way it works.
No character. He doesn't have a character. He's just a suit of armor. So now
it happens before.
Sad that a suit of armor is dying, you know, when he didn't even have to sacrifice himself. But he gets poisoned, and they make you think he's dead, and it goes on forever where you're just staring at his supposed corpse of this suit of armor. And then what goes on for, like, it felt like the next 45 minutes is this extended sequence of baby Grogu trying to take care of Din Djarin's lifeless corpse, which I think just represents the audience at this point. It represents Star Wars. It represents everyone. Like, 20 minutes to 40 minutes of Grogu trying to...
It wasn't 20 minutes. It wasn't 20 and 40 minutes. Like, you could say it felt like it was 20 or 40 minutes, but it wasn't that long.
Give medical assistance to a corpse. Disney tried to revive Star Wars, everyone.
But he wasn't dead. That was the point, is he ended up trying to save him. He clearly wasn't dead because Grogu would have known if he was actually dead.
So, like, once again, it just goes on and on and on of Baby Yoda just walking around and eating chips and doing cutesy stuff and catching fish and eating fish. Finally, some squid character, I think is voiced by Ahmed Best, who I think it was Jar Jar, he gives him, like, the potion to cure the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian wakes up, and it's supposed to be, like, this happy moment, and it's like, I don't care. And then Mandalorian says, the old protect the young protect the...
I mean, clearly you don't. Like, this is bad faith criticism. You don't like the show. You don't like Pedro. So you went into this movie, and I'm supposed to tune into your channel and stumble upon your video and go, yeah, this sounds like an unbiased opinion of this film. Completely unbiased. I can't imagine anybody... You've got, like, almost 100,000 people following you, I guess, at this point. I mean, you must be... Like, the viewers of your channel must be really fucking stupid. That's the only thing I can assume, is that they're just really stupid.
Old or something like that. And then there's pretty much nothing else other than they go back to save Rada from the Hutts.
There's nothing else except... You're trying so hard.
They fight Embo, they fight the Hutts, but whoop-de-day, everybody! Sigourney Weaver comes in at the last second, because apparently she discovered that the Hutts really were feeding them false information after all this time. And they destroy this Hutt lair, and they carry off Mandalorian Grogu. They say goodbye to Rada, who gives them thanks, and the credits roll.
Okay. So that was a lot for a movie where nothing happened, right? I mean, you would agree. Nothing happened except all of this stuff. Except all of these things.
I have literally... I don't think I have anything more to say about this thing. It's like...
Well, the video is 23 minutes and we're at the 15 minute and 40 second mark. So literally doesn't apply. Like literally would mean actually. That's what that would mean. Like you actually have nothing else to say. But you still have like 8 minutes in this video. So I don't even know if we should listen to it. You said you literally have nothing else to say. Should we give it a shot? Let's see if all of a sudden she changes her mind about something and she says one positive thing about the movie. That would be my challenge to anybody moving forward is there one positive thing? Like, I don't believe there's any movie where you hate every bit of it. There's got to be something that you thought was okay in it. But nothing? All right.
I don't think that you could create a more boring film filled with more nothingness than this. Okay. And that's what really broke me on it. It's like earlier this month, I reviewed Devil Wears Prada 2. That was a movie that maybe on a first watch you just think it's mediocre or below mediocre, but it was me thinking about it as I was watching and what they were doing with the characters and how they regressed those characters from the first movie and how just so much from the first movie was regressed in not in terms of the themes of the movie. And
if you want to see me completely demolish her film criticism of Devil Wears Prada 2, it is on the channel here. Matter of fact, I will link it in the corner if you want to go check it out. That one has a pretty interesting ending where we land on with her on this, or on that movie. It's pretty interesting. I would say go give it a watch if you enjoy this one.
All of that. Devil Wears Prada 2 is a terrible movie, but it gave me things to think about. It gave me things to analyze.
Right.
But this movie, Mandalorian and Grogu, is so devoid of anything. There is, like...
I mean, you've been analyzing this movie. That's what you've been doing as we've been sitting here watching this. This is called film analyzation. You're breaking down elements of the movie and you're analyzing them. Even though you say you don't like them, you're still doing that. If this movie were actually devoid of anything, this video would be very short, or it might not even be a video at all. But this is what happens when you have to paint a narrative and feed the outrage machine.
No character. It's just a suit of armor and a baby puppet.
Third time.
Is barely a story. It's 3 episodes. It's like this through line of the fact that they're trying to rescue.
It's 3 episodes, but there's no story. Make it make sense, please.
Rod of the Hutt, which is the same plot as the Clone Wars animated movie.
So there is a plot. So there, you say there was nothing there, but there was 3 episodes and there was a plot that you say they used in another film. So there was a plot and there was stuff happening. The consistency in your argument is just non-existent.
And it's just like they try so hard. There's these moments where they're really trying to show off the action, and it's like it's trying to be so cool, and it's like I don't care about anything in this movie. How could this be acceptable to be released? I don't understand it. I don't understand how a committee, like, even with everything that has gone on with Star Wars, I still don't understand.
Nope. It's not a Star Wars movie. It's not a Star Wars movie. You said at the beginning that was one of your criteria, not a Star Wars movie. So why are you mentioning Star Wars? Why are you talking about it? You shouldn't bring up Star Wars at all. There should be no comparison or connection to Star Wars. That was a rule that you established.
And how this got the go-ahead. I still don't understand how a team of professionals, even incompetent professionals, could do this. And this is how they're trying to bring people back. It's like, you couldn't have done a better job of destroying.
Bring them back to what? Star Wars? But I thought you said it wasn't a Star Wars movie. I'm confused. This is The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not a Star Wars movie, right?
Star Wars and your own industry if you've tried. Which makes
you mentioned Star Wars again. It's not a Star Wars movie, according to you. Second buzzer.
We think that they are trying, but yeah, Pedro Pascal's career should be over with this. He put no effort in this movie. He wasn't even in the suit of armor, playing a suit of armor. His line delivery is the most...
Guys, whenever a stunt person plays another person in the scene, they don't care. They're lazy. From Jester Bell here. They don't care. Whenever you have a stunt actor doing work for an actor that doesn't do stunt work, they're lazy and they don't care. All actors should perform all of their stunt work themselves.
Monotone, soul-sucking thing I've ever heard where even he doesn't care.
So a character who has a certain personality should be ignored. This has been the consistent personality of the Mandalorian since we first met him. But because she doesn't like it, that means that it shouldn't happen. Okay.
Sigourney Weaver is clearly only there for 2 minutes just to collect a paycheck, and she isn't really putting any effort into this.
Right, clearly. Clearly she was just there to do a paycheck. Because all acting is charity work. Right? Every actor acts for free, doesn't get paid, and it's all charity work. They're not there for the paycheck.
A lot of the actors in this movie also were just doing such bad jobs. Like, they just didn't care. They knew this was an awful project.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
what can you say? Like, people out there maybe call...
What can you say? I mean, you're saying a lot for a movie that you're not analyzing. And you're just repeating yourself, really. We're not going to spin wheels much longer. Let's see, because usually at this point in the video, she starts to tell on herself. I'm wondering if there's a nugget of that somewhere here before we wrap up this video.
On this just average or mediocre note, to me, this is the worst kind of movie. Like, I've seen some people even say that this is the worst Star Wars movie, even worse than The Rise of Skywalker.
And it's not a Star Wars movie. You can't use that against it because one of your rules is this was not a Star Wars movie. So if it's not a Star Wars movie, you can't say, well, people say it's the worst Star Wars movie. You can't use that as part of your argument when you're not considering this to be a Star Wars movie.
In The Last Jedi. For me, I think, well, this isn't a Star Wars movie, first of all. If we're going to call it...
Right. So pause, move on to your next bit of evidence or argument or whatever it is you have, because you've said it's not a Star Wars movie. I'm glad you caught yourself there. But you're still going to use this argument in your favor because you don't truly believe what you're saying.
That the worst Disney Star Wars project, I would say, it's between The Acolyte and The Last Jedi for how they attacked like the themes of Star Wars and the major characters and were really the ones that killed them. But I think it's fair to say that this is the worst Star Wars project because, once again...
It's not a Star Wars project, though. It's not a Star Wars project.
Last Jedi, there were moments. There were moments where at least it enticed the audience on an excitement level. Last Jedi definitely did that. It definitely had good visuals. And so that's why The Last Jedi had so much debate over it.
In this video, nothing happens. I'm looking at my watch, checking the time here. Nothing's happening here. This is so boring. It makes me want to quit reacting to videos forever because of how boring this is.
And so much to discuss. The Last Jedi was an interesting movie to discuss at the end of the day. But Mandalorian and Grogu is a movie on a different level where it's like, it's so empty. Like, that's the thing. It's just so empty of anything. There's nothing here to analyze. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to debate. There's nothing to deconstruct. But
we're still debating it. We're still analyzing it. But it doesn't exist for that.
It's just nothingness where there's no character for you to know. There's no development on who each character is.
But yet it was also really important to know stuff about these characters going into the movie, because you said that people had to watch the show to understand the characters. But I guess it doesn't matter because there was no character development or characters in the movie at all, I guess. Like, so why would they have to know anything from the show about these characters if it doesn't matter in the movie?
There's no arc. There's no real story. There's just nothingness. And guys, Hollywood is not coming back. The Hollywood we knew is not coming back. They're not getting better on any level. And watching this movie made me just think, this is it for them. If after all these years of so much bad stuff getting out there, they think that this is somehow acceptable. And this is feeding back into, how they've been, like, with Disney Plus. Like, this was a movie based off of a Disney Plus show, and that show was awful. And I think that,
Again, that's just her opinion. It's not, like, that's not some group consensus about the show. Like, you could argue that the third season isn't well received by the general audience, but all the seasons were well received by critics, and 2 of the 3 seasons were well received by the audience. So... Again, this isn't some, like, objective truth.
I know that this is given an ad hominem argument here. I'm making it about the person rather than their argument. But I do feel that a lot of the praise for The Mandalorian was just, running off of how much people loved Star Wars. It was very fresh after Rise of Skywalker. It's still...
But I thought Star Wars was dead. How can Star Wars exist as dead and extremely successful at the same time? How do we square that circle?
Hadn't really set in how badly Star Wars had been going. There was still a lot of love for this universe, and I think that's what got the show so much initial praise and why they thought that this was going to be,
But I thought everyone hated it. But now it got praise. So at the beginning of this video, everyone hated it. It's a bad show, objectively bad show. But now, magically, by the end of the video, the reason why the movie happened is because the show got praise. But the goalpost is moved now, because she realizes that, the show was well-liked, right? So now the goalpost is moved that it got praised because people just like Star Wars in general. Even though by time this show came out, people were already talking shit about Star Wars. People were already trashing Star Wars at this point. So there would be a mixed reception to Star Wars by the general public if you were to believe that Star Wars was suffering to begin with because of Disney. So it's not even a consistent argument from her.
A sell, but since then Acolyte came out and everyone sees the Mandalorian for what it is now, I think, and it's just this boring slog where there's nothing to it. And
so it's retroactively going back and criticizing something based on another show. Okay.
Exposes like how far Jon Favreau has fallen as a director. So I have this to say in closing, like all of them, like whatever good that Jon Favreau has done in the past, like this is career ending. I do not trust anything that he is going to do in the future. This is his worst film. Pedro Pascal, the guy gives me the creeps. I do not want to see him anymore after this movie. And
right, but you were holding it against him for not being in the movie. So that doesn't make sense. That's not a consistent, logical train of thought. That's a critique that doesn't make sense.
He showed like he did not care about this project. He is not bringing anything to this project.
Yeah, all of the prep work that he went out and did for promoting this movie, all of the red carpet stuff, all the interviews, all of those things, clearly he didn't care about the project. Clearly, based on all the promotional stuff that he did for The Mandalorian and Grogu. He just didn't care.
Just like everyone, even Jeremy Allen White, like he's playing Rada the Hutt, he's voicing him. It's such an awkward performance because you've got this very, modern day voice, human voice coming from this Hutt, and it was just odd. And apparently, like the casting director said, she wanted this Hutt to be sexy or something, and it's just so weird. And his character is just so inexplicable. It's like, this is not Star Wars where this modern day voice is coming out of this slug body, and it's just like, be done, guys, be done.
Right.
Like, the person I was with said it best. Like, this is them digging down deep and deep and deep to where Star Wars was in a coffin. This is Disney bringing it back.
Again, we're in a box where Star Wars exists as dead and popular at the same time. This criticism doesn't work unless you admit that everything at a certain point started to decline and it never went back up again. Which then means that The Mandalorian and Grogu would suffer from that because The Mandalorian show would have been in that bubble of time where Star Wars was struggling. But she can't say that because she realizes that doesn't make sense because this movie would have never happened. And Pedro Pascal, who she claims got stardom from the show, that doesn't make sense logically if the show wasn't well received. So you can't say that Star Wars was struggling and this was trying to revitalize Star Wars while also saying that the show was never good and that this movie was made because the show was well received. These arguments don't logically line up.
Back up from its coffin, opening the casket, and then desecrating the corpse as much as they can. That's what this movie is. This movie, if you see it, anybody sees it, it is going to be a complete waste of money. This is a movie that I 100% see people walking out of and asking for their money back because of how much of a boring slog it is. I saw a mom and her little kid walking in, and I'm like, oh no, I bet they're going to Mandalorian and Grogu. They need to not go see that. And if you are a Star Wars fan and Star Wars label is on...
But it's not Star Wars. It's not a Star Wars movie. So you shouldn't be judging it based on anything connected to Star Wars. Again, this is your rule, not mine.
This will destroy any lasting love you have for the franchise. Please, hold on to the...
How many times have they said this? I think we're done with this video. How many times have they said that something that comes out for Star Wars is going to kill your interest in Star Wars? I bet if I went back and watched any of her videos, especially like The Acolyte or any of those shows or whatever, she's going to say something similar to that. She's going to say something similar to that. It can't keep dying, and then the next time they put something out, all of a sudden it's on life support, and it's barely around again, but then it's also dead, and they're trying to use this to bring it back. That doesn't make sense. If people are tired of Star Wars and they've walked away from it, they wouldn't keep going back to it. Because if they keep going back to it, that means the interest still is there. It still exists. And you shouldn't have to tell people not to go see a movie with characters that you say require homework. If somebody looks at this movie trailer or these posters for The Mandalorian and Grogu and doesn't fucking know who these characters are, and that's a detriment to them going and seeing the movie, according to you, then they're probably not going to go see it. And that might be the case. Some people might not go watch it because of that reason. That's fine. But also to admit that the Star Wars branding is why people go out and see these movies. That doesn't make sense. Is the Star Wars branding going to bring people in or not? This entire video is just dumb. It's all dumb. Every time I watch her video, I feel like I'm going to catch whatever she has, and it's going to be the new pandemic of 2026. I swear.